Hi guys, welcome to this Microsoft Excel session. What I want to have a look at in this module is the filter function and then some analysis on the results of the filter function. So I've been asked recently about this. Now when you do a normal filter, if I filter this, so let me just do a sum on these figures. If I go sum, I'll go all the way up there. It's probably going to come up with an error message. No, I did it. Okay, so there's the sum of that list. But if you do a filter on this list, data filter, hopefully it doesn't trash my spreadsheet. But if I say leads, just want leads, that still says 7.4, which is obviously not correct because there's only this now. So that should say 0.3. So the problem with a filter is that you can't do the sums on that list as it is in isolation. But with the filter function, you can actually do that. You can actually do some analysis. Now, the filter function works in a similar way as to advanced filters used to work in the old days. So if you know how to do advanced filters, these, where you can drop it onto a separate sheet, copy to another location, then you would better do exactly the same as what I'm going to show you with the filter function on this side. I'll just delete that one off out of the way a minute. Now, as you can see there, I've got some text here. Now, the text is going to come up with a div 0 there if I don't do a formula to get rid of it. So I've done this little formula at the top. There, look. So it says if text K4 is true, nothing, 0. Otherwise, do the average. Now, if I just do the average, well, how it was, so I just want equals average. Oops. Average, and then highlighted those 3 lines, which is what I want. It comes up with div 0, so that div 0 would then appear over this side if I selected that option. It's on CCD, so if I change that list to BBC, you'll get the div 0 coming up there, and then it's making a mess of the analysis at the top, which I want to show you how to do. So what I did is I put this function in, which is still sitting there, so I'll just pull that down, and then it gets rid of that. If there is text there, it's just going to show a 0, and then that's not going to impact this side at all. Now, how have I set all this up? Now, I want you to imagine that this is all on a separate sheet, because if you've got a big table, huge amount of data, chances are that you won't have any space, or it'd be not easy to look at. So you'd normally put this on a separate table, but the way to do it is exactly the same as you do the filter function. So if I click onto this cell, you can see the filter function there. So filter data range is this table. I've not named the table, and then the column I'm looking at is column F, this F3 to F13, but you could do the whole column, and if it equals what is ever in N2. So in cell N2, I've done data validation, list. So I've just added the 3 things in there. I didn't have them anywhere any separate, so I typed in with a comma. But if you had the list of all the different meter types somewhere that were in order, not like that, you just better select the list. But that gives me the list, so I can select a list, and then it just filters in place like so. So whichever one I select, it just drops it into this table, which I've said is on a different sheet. Now, to do the filter function, so if I just delete that off, you've got the filter function there. So I've done the data list. You just type equals filter, open the bracket. So your table is this list, and the column that you want to look at is the meter type. So it's this list, and that needs to equals what you've got there. And that is it. Tick that, and it drops it in. So when you change this, these all change. You've got your text there, look, but if I come across, it's showing that 0 because it's showing a 0 there. You just tidied that up. Now, what I've got here is some stats that I need. So I need to work out anything that's plus or minus 2 in this list. So nothing's so it's nothing's within +2 to -2 or -2 to +2 is 0. If that option, if I change this one to that one, now there are, that's within the list, that's within the list, that's within the range, should I say, not list, and that's out of it. So it's added those up, 3.7, -3.7. This is looking for positives over 2. It's got none at the moment for this one, so I've changed it to a different one. Still got none. Still got none. So if I change one of these then, so it's looking for over 2s in the check column. So if I put 3 in that one, and that is under, where did I put that? ABC. Put that to ABC. So that's added that up. And then the negative is looking at negatives, that if I just widen that a little bit, is greater than 2. That should be -2. Negative should be -2. And if I just double click in there and just change that, -2. Okay, and then the average is just the average function. You can use that now because you've got the 0 coming for that one. Which one is it? The BBC 12. That one's got the DPG in it, so it still works that out. Now the formulas for these are, on this one I've used the SumIF function, so SumIFs should I say, so SumIFs. So if I just delete these 4 off and type them again, so this first one is equals SumIFs with an S, it says more than 1. The range you're going to add up is this list, and again you could do the whole column, comma, criteria for this first list, criteria range is this list, so they're the same. And then it wants a comma, so what I'm doing now is less than 2, and it has to go in quotes, less than 2 in quotes like that, comma. Then it wants the second criteria, so the second criteria is the same list, so the criteria ranges are the same at each time, and then this is greater than -2, comma, quotes, greater than -2, close quotes, close bracket, click the tick. So none of those are within it because one's -3, one's -4, but if I change that to one of the other ones, that adds it up 3.7. So the next one is not a SumIFs, it's just straightforward SumIF. And you can see that I've not done the whole SumIF, so you only need the first bit. So it's equals SumIF, open bracket. The range is this range underneath, and then a comma, so we're looking for anything over 2, greater than 2, like that, and then we close the bracket, click the tick, and it's added up positive over 2, 3, that one there, that's right. And then the last one is negative, which is SumIF as well, looking the other way. This range, this one is going to be open quotes, oops, comma, open quotes, less than -2, close quotes, and then tick, and it's just got the -3. And then this one is a straightforward average because we've got rid of the div 0, so it's equals average and the range underneath, close the bracket, click the tick, and that's how it works. So basically when you use the filter functions, what I'm trying to say to everybody is that you can put do analysis on your filtered data, which I think is really cool. Just by selecting little lists like this, you can rotate through all this data. You don't need to worry about that sort of filter, which I've used for years and years. I've used some subtotals to get some filtered information, some totals on it. You don't need to use subtotals if you use the filter function. and then you've got all this sort of stuff there. So whatever you do in terms of sums, formulas on this list, as long as this list is as maximum as it's ever going to be when you select the range, as long as that is as big as it's going to get. So I suppose if you picked every single thing, whatever depth this is, that's what you'd have to select in your formulas, but it does work, and you've got your analysis there. And if you're going to put a graph on that, there you go. So that's a quick look at the filter function again, and some analysis on filtered data. So I hope that was of use to you, and I'll see you on the next one.